Welcome to Duelality Gamecast, the show for people who love to play games.
Greetings, everybody. Welcome to a spoil-filled review of Star Wars The Force Awakens. This is the Duelality Gamecast. I'm William Creel, and with me as always is Matt Robinson. Hey, everybody. And we have a very special guest with us today, Dylan Robinson.
What's up?
Today, as I just said, is our spoil-filled review and talk about The Force Awakens.
This milk is spoiled.
We're just going to go into it. We're going to start talking about some stuff we like, some stuff maybe we didn't like. I don't know if they have anything they don't like about the movie. And some scenes, the characters, everything. We're just going to kind of throw it all on the table, have a discussion, and see what sticks, basically. So, one of the things that I was impressed with is from the very first moments, Lucasfilms, Bad Robot stuff, opening crawl. The very beginning of that, it was so much more interesting and exciting than like the opening crawl of like the prequels
From Phantom Menace.
Yes.
It was like a business contract.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It starts with it sets off the whole thing. It turns it back into fantasy again, I think. And maybe that was some of the differences maybe in between the prequels and Star Wars proper, as you might say in this, is that this feels fantasy.
Right. I don't know if we want to make this a dog on the prequels episode, but I think one of the things that killed the prequels was it felt like Lucas was trying to explainify everything and get into the nitty gritty, and this is back to that adventure kind of film kind of thing. Right,
because it starts out, like the very first thing it says is, Luke has basically gone missing, he's disappeared, and that sets up the premise and the goal for this whole thing. This whole movie is about finding Luke Skywalker, which they do at the end. Yeah. That's a spoiler.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? You guys messed up if you're still listening. You haven't seen it yet.
Cliffhanger. Great. Now they're going to stop watching.
So the very first scene that we get is Poe talking it out, looking for Luke Skywalker. Oh, there it is, connected. This was the very first scene, and it took me about 15 seconds to hop into the movie. I don't know. Did you get that same experience? I didn't know what to expect, I think. And I was like, what's going on? I don't know if this feels right. Then, okay, I'm on board.
Yeah. Well, I thought it was funny. They opened it with legendary actor Max von Sydow and looking a lot like Obi-Wan Kenobi, old Obi-Wan, old Ben, on a desert planet. But not that desert planet.
Well, and that's what they did throughout this whole movie, right? They didn't... I mean, I've seen some people say, like, oh, they basically just redid, episode 4. And that's not what happened, but this was completely like an homage to episode 4. And I think that's what their goal was with this, right? Is they're kind of, in a way, like, soft booting the Star Wars universe back into being again. And so everything in this felt familiar, right? I mean, like, I think, like, they introduced Poe. You're like, okay, who's this guy? And like, okay, stuff starts happening. They have secret plans they need to get. They need to tell somebody something. He puts it in a droid. That droid runs away and gets involved with shenanigans on a desert planet. Like, it just, like, you're like, okay, this feels familiar without just being a, like, scene-for-scene remake or something like that. So, the introduction of Poe, right away, how'd you feel about him? Was he a cool dude right away? Or did you think, like, this guy seems a little cocky to me?
No, he seemed cool. He doesn't, and I think we're going to talk about this in other parts of this discussion, but there's characters who hit some real good notes, but were still different than classic Star Wars characters.
They weren't just carbon copies.
They weren't, so maybe there's a lot of homages in this movie thematically, but with the characters, they really made some new, but also well done characters. So he's this great fighter pilot, but he doesn't have like the roguish qualities of Han Solo. He doesn't have the boy qualities of Luke Skywalker. He's his own guy, and he seemed like a pro. And you knew that there were pros in the old Star Wars movies. You just, normally you just saw like their face driving a fighter and you didn't get to hear him talk, or you saw him blow up or something. And here's actually one of those guys doing stuff, which was really cool, I thought.
And that scene basically led into the introduction of Kylo Ren showing up in what looked kind of like the the Emperor shuttle type
thing.
thing.
all tricked out.
and they kind of introduced. I mean, the movie stepped right into action right away, right? Because the very first thing that happens after that is the bad guys show up, stormtroopers show up, and they start blasting all these people.
Right.
And they showed stormtroopers actually being like doing things. So like we were kind of joking around on the car ride home. It's like stormtroopers are awesome against anybody that doesn't have levels, right? So any named character can take out 20 stormtroopers, but stormtroopers by themselves,
stormtroopers against desert villagers,
they're awesome. They rock those people. And it introduces to the first use of the Force with Kylo Ren, which was a really cool moment, I think. That whole freezing the blaster bolt, and you're like, oh, hey, he's got some juju in him. He's got some magic in him.
Which was really neat, because that was a little bit of an homage to, Darth Vader just locking him, but instead he's taking it to a whole other level and freezing it. But yeah, very cool.
And it introduced Captain Phasma in that scene.
Yeah, a little bit.
But she walked in and looked shiny, basically.
Yeah, well, what she did in the whole movie, really.
Yeah. But it just did a great job, I think, of setting up the bad guys, I think. They came in, they laid waste to, if you think about, the Empire wasn't going around and just, I guess they killed some Jawas and, Luke's aunt and uncle in the first one, but
it was all off camera.
It was all off camera. Whereas this, they they know there's someone in this village they want to get. They come down and just kill everybody. Yeah. Shoot first, ask later type of a thing. There was one funny thing though. They were like, "Does he have the map? He doesn't have the map on him. It's probably on that droid or whatever it is." And then they blow up his ship. What if he left the map laying on the seat of his ship? They just blew up that thing. I thought that was a little funny that he's probably not leaving on his ship. It's definitely on that droid that rolled away. We're good. And immediately following this, that's basically I would think the true protagonist of the story, Rey, is introduced, right? And they introduce her doing what she does probably every day to survive, scavenging, crawling around inside these big gigantic skeletons of these ships.
Yeah, because apparently there was an epic battle fought over and on Jakku.
Yeah, because basically I assume she's in a Star Destroyer, right?
There's some really cool wide shots and, background shots of that wrecked Star Destroyer, which figures in later on, too, with the Millennium Falcon.
Mm-hmm. And it kind of sets up her life of her being this competent. I mean, she's like the hero from Obscurity, right? That's her setup, is that she's this person that's surviving day to day by her wits and by skill, collecting junk basically and selling it for money. And kind of her whole character's goal is waiting, right? It's kind of a weird her setup is I'm waiting for my family to come back.
Right.
And it seems like she's been there since she was wee high. And I don't know how old she's supposed to be in the movie.
Probably Luke age, I would imagine. So 16?
16?
18
okay.
maybe.
And so there's just, I found it interesting that they there's that parallel again of kind of with Luke with her, which leads to maybe some speculation on my part of her being Luke's daughter, maybe, or something.
But, and here's where I go back to saying how they made these characters their own, is she's an orphan on this horrible desert planet, which, near as I can tell, only has people on it because they scavenge from the battle wreckage. Mm-hmm. I mean, I can't really see any other reason anyone's there.
Yeah, there's no moisture farms that we can tell. Yeah. There's no other economy besides scavenging and selling for food.
And she's got her own place. She's risking her life every day to get her own food by trading in these goods. She's traveling through this wasteland every day. Luke had a family. I mean, he was left as technically an orphan too, but
he wanted to join the Empire at the beginning of the thing, wasn't he? Doing go to the academy or something?
Yeah, they were a little nebulous on what that was, but yeah.
That's just it. Yeah, they set her up as a completely self. Mm-hmm. She's realized she wants to wait there, and she's made a life for herself. Right. Basically, she's not. Even though she's young, she's already has a direction kind of she's going.
Yeah, so she's tough at the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
Luke had to get there, which I think is cool. And that could kind of go back to, later on when we really learn about her Force power. I've been talking to people today who saw the movie, and they were like, well, I think you were talking about it too, right? How would she get good fast? And it was like, well, maybe she's just more advanced.
And that's kind of jumping ahead a little bit. Yeah, like it seemed to me like she went from, oh, the Force is real, to, let me out of these restraints and drop your gun type of a thing. And it seemed like a very fast progression for me for her, which, especially since no one even told her she could use the Force, really, right? It's all from basically her getting that lightsaber and having that vision, which I guess maybe that could instigate it all, which gets back to the fantasy aspect of this. There's so much more fantasy going on here than there was in, like, again, the prequels, and even in some of, like, the original trilogy. There was fantasy in that, but I feel like this notched up the fantasy just a little bit more. Luke's lightsaber gives her, like, visions when she touches it. Kylo Ren's, like, asking his grandfather's mask, like, trying to channel, like, his, like, spirit, like, from this artifact type of thing. I just felt like they made it, like, they took the already lived in universe of Star Wars, and people lived there for 30 more years. But after they introduced Rey, shortly thereafter, they've already introduced BB-8, but they don't really, he just kind of runs off. Yeah. Then you run to that scene where he's being captured by the guy on that robot cow thing, whatever that was. And what was your impressions? Like, I know, like, going into it, I was like, is BB-8 just a toy? Is he just going to be an R2-D2 knockoff? What do you think of it, Dylan? Did you like BB-8?
Yeah.
Did he seem like R2 to you, or did he seem like something else entirely?
Yeah, he's the new R2. Like, there's no doubt about that.
But he's just copy and paste, or is he different?
Oh, yeah, well, I mean, he's different. He's not, he's definitely not a utility. Like, he doesn't do a lot for other people. But
he's a selfish R2?
No,
R2's pretty selfish.
No, we've got 6 movies with R2 in them. So that's not really fair.
Oh, yeah, I know. I bet he'll end up doing so because, he has the lighter and the thumbs up lighter.
Yeah, he has a thumbs up lighter.
Oh, yeah, the spiky things that he sent out to hold himself up.
He's not just there to be cute.
And his personalities, I mean, it's like a lot of the other characters here. He's similar. He's more like an homage to R2 than an actual, like, just R2 replacement. Yeah. Or it just has a different feel about him, of how he operates, kind of his attitude. R2 seems like an angry old man to me, like, just like through all, like, the whole. Whereas BB seemed more like
younger.
It seemed like a younger droid, for lack of a better term. Yeah.
Well, that's cool too if you're gonna get all, like, weird and start thinking about, okay, it's a giant galactic empire, and they've really established that there is a class of droids, call them astromech droids or whatever, that, they help you pilot small ships, and maybe they do other utility stuff. Mm-hmm. But this is a massive, galaxy-spanning civilization, so of course there's going to be all kinds of different ones. So you got old school, like, R5s and R2-D2, and now we got BB-8. So pretty cool to me.
And, like, I'm jumping around a lot trying to think of all this stuff. Going back to the beginning, also, with the introduction of Poe and then Kylo Ren, it also introduced Finn.
Yeah.
Or was it FN2187 or something like that? Yeah.
Number.
And he's like a character we haven't really had in Star Wars before, right? It's like he's the incorruptible good guy in a way. Like, he was raised as a stormtrooper. He spent his whole life trained from birth to be a stormtrooper. And his first real battle, he's just like, this is horrible. I don't want anything to do with this. He's shocked and disgusted by it all.
And which is funny too, because at that moment, I mean, did it seem rushed, like, his change of character? Because it made a lot more sense when you skip ahead to the end of the movie, or near the end of the movie, and you find out that he had been, like, a sewage worker. Mm-hmm. It's like, oh, okay, so he never he never attacked villages with stormtroopers before.
Yeah, he kind of says, like, he made the decision in the first battle he was in. Like, it seemed like, like, that was his first, like, actual, like, deployment mission, and he sees one of his friends die, and they're just going through the whole thing. And that I thought it was very evocative, like, him standing there with them all shooting people, and him just kind of standing there and not shooting, just, oh, man, what is happening here? And it sets up kind of, like, Kylo Ren, kind of, and him having that look at each other as they're getting on, and kind of, like I said, it's the most, like, crisis of conscience we've seen in Star Wars. I mean, we've had Anakin in the prequels and all of his stuff, and I don't think that was handled super well, or at least wasn't expressed really well. Whereas in this, I think they address a lot more of the bad. Like, it's kind of funny. It's bad guys being drawn to good. It's like a flip of it, right? Because it's like Finn was trained to be a stormtrooper and completely like threw away his whole life and ran away because he thought it was horrible.
Yeah.
Kylo Ren is like seduced by the light, which is it's kind of funny. It's reversed.
Yeah.
They just the characters are just so they're not mirror images. They're not exact copies. They just that everyone kind of has they did a new direction this one.
Yeah.
The next real scene they have that like stuck in my mind after kind of the opening part is, all right, the First Order's coming. They're bombing this thing. Let's get out of here. All right, let's get on that ship over there. What about that one's junk? And they're running for it, and then that
they don't show it. Yeah.
And that one gets blown up, and they're like, all right, the junkie ship's good. And they turn towards it, and it's the Millennium Falcon.
And there was clapping in the theater. Yay. Because the Millennium Falcon is like a character.
Mm-hmm.
It's really cool.
Right, I know.
And that's why it was like they get on board, and immediately they're crashing through. Like, that's just it. Like, it's a tough ship that's seen battle and just... Yeah, it has its own personality. It's been modded again. It's not even like stock anymore in any way.
Yeah. Had a new dish.
And it did. They had this awesome like chase scene, right, with them and the TIE fighters. Obviously CG, right, in it. Obviously super like and compared to old Star Wars maneuvers, I think very much more extreme and action packed. I feel, but it felt right. Right? Like, I was watching it, I wasn't going like, this is just, it isn't just cameras whipping around everywhere. It felt Star Wars-y, the fight, to me still.
Yeah, it was kind of like, if you're old like me, you remember that anytime you saw the TIE fighters flying through space, you could see the faint outline of the matte cuts where they put them on, right? Or they blended the film together. And that was just a thing that was always there. And now that's gone, but it's still like the same kind of choreography, but it just looks better.
Mm-hmm.
But what's totally awesome is Finn's on that cannon, right? And he's struggling with it, having a hard time. It still has the crazy 70s readout.
Yeah.
And I was like, thank you, J.J. Abrams. That's awesome.
It still has the hilarious, little like wireframe graphics for everything.
No blue hologram.
And then later, when they're tearing through the place later, this is skipping ahead a little too, but they have the oxygen mask that they wore inside the asteroid from Empire Strikes Back, which was like weird surgical mask. And they had, I didn't see it, but everyone else did. I don't know. I'm really mad I missed it, but they tossed out the little training droid
the zappy one.
Practicing lightsaber with.
Yeah.
I gotta go see it right now just to miss because I missed that.
Well, and that's just it. Is that it gets back to that feeling that the original trilogy had of it's lived in, right? I mean, mind you, now we're doing callbacks to something we've seen, but the Millennium Falcon has been around for a long time. It's seen a lot of stuff, and all that's on that ship.
Yeah.
And
the chess set, or what's it called? The 3D chess, but it's not chess.
I call it hologram chess, but I know what you're talking about.
Star Wars fail. Apologize. But it was there. It was awesome.
And then that leads to them being captured by a big ship, and them thinking it's the New Order, and then panicking and stuff, and then the doors open, and it's Han Solo and Chewie walking on the ship. Yeah. Chewie, we're home. We've all seen that in the trailer.
Yeah. But it's still like, even though we'd seen that part in the trailer, when they did it, I was like, yay!
We are home! And that's what, like, you can say what you want about Harrison Ford. He's an amazing actor. He's done a lot of great stuff. But the last few years, he's been kind of a grumpy old man in everything he's done.
Well, he's had a niche for probably 10 or more years.
Yeah.
I'm an angry president or whatever.
He was Han Solo in this movie, right? It didn't feel like he didn't feel like Harrison Ford. He felt like Han Solo.
He did.
Yeah.
He did. He was just old man Han Solo. That was cool.
And I'm wondering if because I know his whole thing is he always thought Han Solo should die and he never wanted to do Star Wars again. I wonder if the whole thing is, a spoiler, Han dies at the end of this.
Yeah.
I'm not convinced. I didn't see his corpse.
Yeah. I'm wondering if part of his whole energy was the fact that maybe JJ sold to him okay, we want you to come back, but we're going to kill you.
Yeah.
in a very important way at the end of this movie, and he's like, sold, I'm on board. That's what I've always wanted to have happen with this character. Because it just, all of the, like, him, Leia, they just felt like they had been there for 30 years. Like, it didn't feel awkward, like, oh, we're trying to shoot, like, they weren't cameos, you know? Like, a lot of stuff, they do stuff later on, like, hey, look, it's that guy. He just gives a thumbs up.
They did have those people, but they were third-rate characters anyway, so it didn't matter. Like, Admiral Akbar is back. Well, okay.
He said something.
Yeah.
But, yeah, it's just, to me, it was interesting that Han was such a big part of this movie. I mean, I guess I just assumed that they were just going to follow completely the new cast, and they...
No, he was kind of the...
He was a main character.
He was.
Yeah, I mean, he wasn't in that first opening scene, but from the point he hit camera, he was...
2/3 of it.
Yeah, he was involved with basically the whole thing. He was doing the same thing he's done to everyone. All right, how to blow this thing up. Let's go make this happen. Which, again, goes to the callback. I know I'm excited, so I'm jumping all around. The Starkiller base. He even basically says, like, isn't it just a big Death Star, more or less? And they're like, no, this thing's huge. And he's like, that's just a bigger...
Well, that whole thing was hilarious because it's almost like a wink at Star Wars fans. And like, in-joke is like, this is our third one. Like, the Rebels Slack Resistance have gotten so good at blowing up the bad guys' bases that their planning thing was like, okay, Han, you got that. Poe, you're going to take in the fires. Let's do this thing. That's how it felt.
Yeah.
Break! And they just all went for it.
Yeah. And if there wasn't that history, if this was just a standalone movie and that was like the thing, you'd be like, this does not seem like a professional kind of thing. But there's all this history, so you're like, oh, okay.
Oh, well, they know how to do it.
Yeah.
They got this.
Well, and like, all people involved are like, you know, they established Poe as to be the best darn fighter pilot in the
of the Resistance.
Resistance, thank you. I want to say the Republic. And they show him, like, there's that scene shortly after they get to the Taco Planet. What's the name of that planet? The one with Maz
Kanata.
Yeah.
Yoda.
When they get to that planet where they just show him, like,
Taco Dano.
They show basically him just show up, and he's flying around shooting down TIE fighters. Like, there's stormtroopers attacking him. He's shooting stormtroopers for him. He's doing everything.
They strafe. I don't know if it was him specifically or not, but they strafed stormtroopers standing next to the heroes, which was awesome. And that's why they have big wings and can shoot around the heroes.
As long as they're 15 feet apart, wherever it is, you're perfect. But yeah, they established him as being this awesome fighter pilot guy. And then they backed it up. That's what happens in a lot of movies. They're like, this is the most amazing whatever guy ever. Yeah. And then to try to prove how bad the bad guys are, they have that person lose, right? Like, it's like, this is our big, strong, tough hero character. We're going to have the bad guy knock him out with one hit so we can go, oh my goodness, the bad guy is so bad.
Yeah.
They didn't do that in this one. Poe was awesome. Like, he's...
Well, he was basically Wedge Antilles, like, everything that, you know, if you watch the original trilogy, you know, the ace fighter pilot is Wedge Antilles. But you don't know that. Like, there's nothing in the movies that really tells you that. It's all this stuff outside the movies. You got to read books or comic books or play video games to know that Wedge Antilles was the badass fighter pilot. And so you don't get it in the movie. But then in this movie, we get the guy who is Wedge Antilles as a main character, which is totally cool.
And... again, like we were talking about this before we started filming this, he was unique, right? He's like this awesome pilot. He's a little cocky, but he's not a Han Solo character. He's not anything else.
He's a badass in a way, like, I know it, but I don't need to express it.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, he was never like, well, I'm the best fighter pilot in this galaxy. Like, he never said that. Everyone else referred to him as being the best that there is.
Yeah.
He was their go-to. It seemed like he was their go-to field guy, right? It's like, we need this stuff to happen. We need to go find a thing about Luke. Go. We need you to blow up this big planet. Go.
He's got to be like, special operations dude, because think about it. He comes back, and they don't even cover how he got back or anything. Back!
Yeah.
He's just that good, apparently.
Yeah.
Yeah, I woke up in the middle of the desert. No one was around. No food, no water. I'm here now. Okay, cool.
Finn sees him on the the Resistance planet That Dakar?
I think that might be Dakar.
They knock it out.
You know, and he's all shocked and thrilled to see him, and you know, it's just like, of course I'm here. What you know.
Yeah.
One, just so it doesn't sound like I'm gushing about everything,
Yeah.
I did have one or two little nitpicky things I wanted to point out, so I'm just going to throw these out here.
You're a bad person.
You guys are going to hit me probably. And it almost was like a callback to show what could have been. So it was the CG tentacle monster things on the ship that Han Solo captured the Millennium Falcon in.
Yeah, so he apparently made some kind of deal to get and transport these horrible Cthulhu monsters, two of them.
Mm-hmm.
And that was an interesting tangent too, because that was like injecting, world atmosphere stuff into the movie that really didn't go anywhere else in the rest of the story. There were these rival gangs, and one of them was even called a something club.
Yeah.
Which I thought was hilarious.
One of them was Scottish.
One was a little Asian-y looking, and the other guy was like a Scotsman, but he had like crazy guys in battle armor with him. Yeah, so was it the CGI?
It was the CGI. To me, all that was awesome. That was kind of them showing... That was like their introduction really to Han Solo. Like, he walked on the Millennium Falcon and everything, but that was them trying to say, like, look, he's still rogue, he's still out wheeling and dealing, and they kind of explain why later on in the movie.
Right.
But all that stuff was awesome, and then the CG monsters show up, and I'm like, hey, those are some CG-looking monsters right there. They were only on screen for, like, probably 30 seconds total.
Well, they're moving really fast, and a lot of times you're not even seeing them except for, like, a tentacle.
Yeah.
But
the few glimpses you get, I'm like, yep, that's what everyone was afraid they were going to do, and it was almost like them pointing out, like, see? We're not doing this. It's almost how it felt in the movie because it was so quick. It was off main storyline. It really was like this whole scene that you could like almost cut from the movie and it still would have flowed and everything okay. Yeah. So that was like my one, I guess, like me going like, oh man, that was like it brought me out. I guess is the best thing for it.
It was the monster in the trash compactor scene.
Yeah,
that's what that was.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and I was okay with it.
No, I enjoyed it.
It wasn't a bad scene.
It just
was when they show the outside exterior shot of the Millennium Falcon and the thing like humping the cockpit.
Yeah,
that made me laugh.
And then my other, and this is people can explain this in different ways, and we've already had a discussion about this, is how quickly Rey just became a Jedi. I felt like I realized she wasn't super uber powerful, but she went from the beginning of the thing where like.
Force user.
Yeah.
I wouldn't call her Jedi.
Well, okay. But she was like, the Force is real? That's a real thing?
Yeah.
And then she gets captured by the bad guys. And then the bad guy tries to mind probe her, and she's like, oh, I can read your mind now. I'm going to tell James Bond over there to open my restraints and drop his gun. Like,
it took her 3 tries.
It took her 3 whole tries. And then... At the end of the movie, she pulls like a lightsaber to her and stuff like that. That's stuff that like Luke was like struggling with in the second movie.
No. I think it's okay. So you remember in the 5th movie,
yes,
where Luke has the weird fever dream hallucination thing when he's on what's that?
To go to Dagobah.
Yeah, we went to Dagobah, right? Remember when he had that weird fever dream?
Oh no, you're talking about where he goes into the cat cave.
Yeah, remember that? I think that was supposed to be like kind of related to that.
I think you're exactly right. When she goes to the chest where the lightsaber is,
yeah,
total callback homage to.
Yeah, she's like going like she knows she's gonna have to face something big, and but I mean, there's obviously no fighting Darth Vader or anything like Luke was in that weird hallucination, but she knows she's had to face something big, and when she encounters Kylo Ren, and Kylo Ren is trying to get information from her. And when Kylo Ren is doing that, I think she finds out, okay, something's going on in my head, so I'm gonna try this out for size.
I think you're right. I think the room in Maz Kanata's castle started something, and then him pushing her, I think it almost was like the trigger, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like, oh, wait a minute, I'm doing this. I can see his thoughts, and
and I agree with what you're saying. My thing is just that, in the original trilogy, it took Luke, 2 movies before he could do anything, basically?
Yeah.
He managed to shoot a plane without a sensor on in the first one.
It's these kids, man. They're just 2 steps faster.
Yeah. So,
well, okay, I think we talked about this earlier off camera, but I think we kind of get the feeling that she could very well be Luke Skywalker's daughter. and that he planted her on that planet to keep her safe, keep her out of the hands of the First Order or
I think
whoever.
that's exactly what happened.
If that's the case, maybe she's kind of an Anakin level Jedi. I always got the impression Anakin was, the Force stuff was just happening way stronger with him than it did with Luke, at least initially.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because Luke didn't even know what was going on until he was 20.
So maybe she's more of a chosen one kind, like Anakin was supposed to be. Luke is just kind of like the in-between generation.
Ooh, maybe she's going to be the one that brings balance to the maybe she's actually the chosen one from all this stuff, and Anakin was just the catalyst to start it all rolling.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yep.
All right, so maybe I'm not as angry about that as I thought I was, but still.
Nope.
I am confident that in the next couple of movies we're going to see some of that filled in.
Yeah, and you can see there was a bond there, but at the end of the movie.
Between her and Luke?
Yeah, I don't know. There seemed to be a bond there. I know there's no dialogue, but there's a bond there.
That was a cool shot, but we're skipping ahead.
Yeah.
So, before we get into any more of the end stuff, let's just real quick try to hit a couple of the characters, and I just want to get your guys' I want you guys to sum them up for me. Tell me what you think was their key moment and kind of where you think they're going to be going in the story. So, Kylo Ren, right? He's the Darth Vader of this one, but he's kind of a reverse Darth Vader in a way. He got beat up, but Supreme Leader said, go get Kylo and take him to me. I want to train him. So we're all on the assumption that he got picked up. Do you think this is is this 3-episode arc going to be his redemption? Do you think, or do you think that he's just going to be another character? Is he just a cog in the wheel of Rey's story?
I don't know, but what I think could be very interesting is if they follow him and Rey both, because at the end he gets called back to Supreme Leader Snoke, right, to complete his training, and now Rey ends with Luke training, probably, we assume. So it'd be really cool if over the course of the next 2 movies they're both getting better.
Yeah.
On their side of the fence.
Kylo Ren is an amateur in this movie.
And that's true. And that's what it's almost tricky, because he shows up in that first scene, someone shoots a blast bullet and he phrases it in midair, and you're like, that's okay. This guy is
more stuff we can't.
This guy is awesome. And then he's reading people's minds. I mean, that's stuff that they've implied they're trying to do, but they never Darth Vader used some weird surgical thing to try to get Leia to tell him stuff. You couldn't figure out it was his daughter, right? Kylo Ren's I'm just gonna use the Force and program inside your brain. It seems like he has maybe a different set of skills type of thing. He's way more of a sorcerer than the Anakin character. I think is a warrior, right? He's a dark knight as opposed to
he's got the fighting Force stuff.
Yeah,
that's the thing. He barely fight.
So let's talk about Force then, real quick, if you don't mind.
Sure.
I feel like they expanded the Force lore in this movie in a couple of very subtle ways. Kylo Ren, his go-to ability seems to be some kind of suspended animation ability. Because he does it with the blaster bolt, which everyone's like, whoa! And he kind of does it nonchalantly because he goes on and starts talking to people, and it's just sitting there. And then when he's walking away, boom! But he does it to characters in the movie too. There was one, I think it was Rey, he froze, and her one arm's got to do this behind her.
Yeah.
It's this freeze thing. So that's kind of a new Force power. It's not really a Force push or choke. It's this new suspended animation.
I think he's using mostly his brain.
Could be. But then he also references, I think when he's having his little monologue with the Darth Vader helmet, he references how there's the lure of the light side, which is
reverse.
Okay, that's never happened before. It's always the dark side with the lure, because the dark side is bad. They tempt you, blah, blah, blah. Well, here's this kid who has apparently decided he's evil, but being drawn to the good side.
Yeah, because it's on an intellectual level, he thinks that the dark side's the right way to go, but on a spiritual level, he feels like he should join the. Yeah, it flips, and I think it's more of what they wanted to do with. I feel like his storyline is going to give you more of what you expected Anakin to go through, right? Mm-hmm. He's going to be wrestling with this stuff the whole time. I mean, even then, right, we're jumping around now. So even at the end when he kills his dad, he's still
He's like, oh.
He's like, he basically had to have Han Solo tell him, like, that's not what Han Solo was telling him was kill me, but he basically had to have his dad say, whatever you need, I'm here for you type things. Like, this is what I need to do to move on in my life, and thanks, Dad, type of a thing. And it was, and like, you didn't get the fit, like, it wasn't like he did it and he was just cold, right? Like he's like...
He was totally torn by the whole thing.
Yeah.
But, okay, and this is kind of stepping away from the story, but none of that Kylo Ren stuff would have been as cool or worked as well if he wasn't as good an actor. Like, I thought,
he's good.
If you compare him, because you kind of got to draw a comparison with him to Anakin, right? I think Adam Driver was a much better actor than Hayden Christensen was as Anakin.
I think more emotionally directed, right?
Probably directed better too.
Yes.
Because that's the thing is that, like, this is bashing on the prequels again, but is the prequels are just monotone, right? Like, I mean, I think maybe they were trying to embrace the whole Jedi or supposed to be this, like, Buddhist Zen type people, but, like, no, like, even when Anakin is, like, angry and stuff like that, he's not, like, he's, like, throws a little piece of metal and he's, stomp his foot. It's, like, it's more like a
scream.
Yeah. And it's way less, like, deep emotion, like, what you feel from Kylo Ren. Because, like, Kylo Ren, and you can kind of feel between Vader and him. Kylo Ren, like, gets pissed off. He pulls out his lightsaber and just smashes stuff, right?
Like a whole console.
But he doesn't hurt the guy that brought the news. Right. And then he's like, is there anything else? Like he brings himself back in. So it's like I feel more like it's kind of flips, like he's trying to embrace the darkness and he's trying to build his rage. It's like at the end when he's fighting, he keeps punching himself in his wound, trying to get himself like amped up. It's like he's trying to use the dark side, and it's not working for him.
Like it's not coming naturally.
See, that's because he's Han Leia's son. Maybe it wasn't meant for him.
Well, that's what I'm wondering if if they're going to try to do some type of flip at the end where Rey's going to like go to the dark side or something like. And like I was joking, like, what if Snoke is even like a real Force user or something like so far all the Star Wars stuff has all been addressing Sith and Jedi, right? They don't call themselves Sith in this.
No, there's no Sith reference.
I mean, there's like maybe Snoke is Darth Plagueis or something like that. Is like a lot of fan theories, but what if he's just some dude that's good with the Force that's managed to take over this.
Well, I think maybe he's the dark side parallel to Maz Kanata, because like Maz Kanata is not a Force user. She's a really old, wise lady
who's kind of like
who has amazing perception just because of her years, basically. So maybe this is like crazy evil sage guy, who knows all about the Force and the Sith and. And he doesn't do it.
Because their attitude towards it is really different too. Because like the whole thing with the Sith is this like life pact you're making, right? It's like if you're the master, you have to continuously improve your pupil, and as soon as you can no longer do that, your pupil's supposed to strike you down and take over your position, and then pick a new pupil. And if the pupil ever fails, you're supposed to kill him. And I didn't get that feeling from like they're like we're tapping on the dark side, and he's like, I don't know if you like when Snoke's talking to him. I don't know if, like, no one of the Knights of Ren have ever had to face this, even you. Do you think you can handle it? Like, it didn't seem like as probing and, like, do I have to kill you right now because you can't handle it? And Kyle's like, no, I can do this. I'm ready. Let me, put me in, coach. Like, it just had a completely different feel of they're evil, but they're not, like, mustache-trilling evil. They're, like, they still have other emotions. They're not just all hate.
Yeah.
Well, and it seems like the First Order, they're almost like fanboys of the Empire. That's what I got from it. Like, they're copycats, which would be a totally cool storyline if this develops through a trilogy. These are just, militant jackasses who are trying to emulate the Empire, but don't really know what they're doing and don't have the stuff that the Emperor and Darth Vader had. That would be so interesting to me. Like, unpredictable, which is cool.
Well, yeah, because something they didn't even touch on this is the Republic, right? Like, there's supposed to be a Republic. They talk about
operating government.
And so then what's the First Order? Like, how do they, like, that's what I'm wondering if this is, like, I'm sure they're going to explain it more in future movies, but are they just like militant, like, woodsmen that are like that are super organized, and I mean, obviously the Gigantic base, so they have some type of, but how much of the galaxy do they control? It doesn't seem like they don't talk about things being under the First Order thumb, but at the same time, like in his speech, his like Nazi-esque speech that he's doing to talk about but it's talking about overthrowing the government. They really do feel like they're militia type people, even though they're super organized and apparently having a bigger budget than the Empire somehow. But
yeah, so it's going to be interesting to see how that develops. Obviously, Supreme Leader Stoke he's either trying to recreate the Empire or he's scrapped together some leftover bits and trying to go from there. Maybe it's a thing where it's easier to operate like the Empire, he can get more people to join him if he just makes it like the Empire.
Yeah, because I mean, I guess there wasn't a lot of explanation of what the Empire's goals were in New Hope and on. I mean, like they wanted the complete galactic control, but that was just the goal. It seems like their whole focus was like, we can't let them find Luke Skywalker. We can't. It seemed like they had a different goal of maybe trying to rebuild their own version of the Jedi or something like that. I don't know. It just seemed like there was something else going on besides just complete conquest.
Yeah.
Something I know that you've kind of stuck in your craw, you talked a little about, is Captain Phasma.
Yeah, so Captain Phasma, right, played by Gwendolyn Christie, who was Brienne of Tarth in Game of Thrones. The media, of course, there's a ton of media hype for Star Wars, but they really played up her character. Like, there's pictures of the Chrome Trooper, Captain Phasma. It's played by Gwendolyn Christie. And even did interviews with her. I remember seeing little snippets of interviews where she's kind of talking about her character. And then you get to the movie, and
she's in 3 scenes.
She's in charge of some stormtroopers. She doesn't shoot anybody. She has to report bad news once or twice. And she barks a couple orders, and she gets captured, and basically is the reason they were able to blow up the Starkiller base.
But that's it. She lowered the shields.
Yeah.
It wasn't even...
She's not even good.
Yeah, she didn't even, fight it. I think we were all, the general idea is, she's going to be, the Boba Fett of this universe. She's going to be some cool character that we don't get to see their face, that's going to, has this mystery, and she has that, but then she didn't do anything.
Yeah, and I was thinking... even more kind of hardcore than Boba Fett. I was thinking she was going to be some kind of uber shock trooper, kind of like the Emperor's Guard, but as a stormtrooper,
And she turned out to be more like a bureaucrat.
Yeah,
is what it did.
No,
I'm assuming. I mean, the planet or the Starkiller base exploded, and in theory, she's in a trash compactor somewhere. So. I'm assuming that because they put so much into her that she's going to be in the next ones, though they didn't really set it up as her surviving this movie. So,
I mean, they did order to evacuate the base, so maybe she's gone.
That might work.
But I felt like she was more kind of exposition in this one. She was the one that had to explain to somebody else or who Finn was. Right, and then she was the one who had to lower the shields. She was kind of like a mechanism.
A connector.
Yeah.
So, do you feel like this is a J.J. Abrams movie? It was very frenetic. It was 2 hours and 20 minutes, something like that. Did it go fast for you?
Yeah, it felt like an hour.
Yeah, the pacing was really well.
Breakneck.
Really well. We talked about this. There weren't really any sleepy ho-hum kind of scenes. Pick on the prequels again here, but there were some serious
heart-wrenching.
You could go get a soda right now kind of scenes in those movies, and J.J. Abrams didn't do that. He was chop, chop, chop.
Do you think that maybe they should have added more downtime in it? I feel like there were so many. There's 6 new characters, and all the old characters. I realize they're making, now they're planning on doing basically one of these things probably every other year for an eternal period of time. But did it feel like I just wanted them to have more time with everybody? I felt. I guess that makes me want to see the next movie and everything.
Yeah, I mean, I want to because I'm really into it, but I also understand why they didn't. I'm sure I bet there's a if they do a Blu-ray, they're gonna. There's
Have
probably gonna be
extended
like
stuff,
the
yeah.
extended edition or something because there's probably a lot on the floor from cut.
There's probably already like biographies about it.
But one scene in particular, I felt like they could. Well, not scene, but they probably could have dwelled on the Resistance base a little more.
Mhm.
Like it was really kind of just you're at the base, you're in the headquarters, the command center. You're talking really fast about blowing up the Starkiller base, and you're off.
Mm.
And that was almost it. Although there was some really nice scenes between Leia and Han.
Yeah, those were very heartfelt. I like those. And I think like the next few movies, 8, 9, whatever, are going to be a lot slower in pace.
Do you think they're going to be slower in pace?
Well, yeah,
Oh,
I don't
know about that.
No, I don't think they're going to be like slower to the point where they're boring. I think they're going to take it slower because okay, we've set things up, so now we can explain other stuff in greater detail.
And that's one of the things that this movie did well, I think. I mean, I know people have a couple nitpicky stuff about it. I mean, I had a little nitpicky stuff, but I gave this must go watch, must buy the ticket rating. Is that this set up the ball for the next director to just spike it home. Like there's so much good momentum with this movie, and they did leave so many things open that they're not just have to slap stuff on. It seems like with this story they have a plan for it to go for some indeterminate period of
You
time.
already know that these characters are on arc.
I mean, especially with how it ends, right? It ends with the silent moment of her handing Luke back the lightsaber. Like obviously, he's going to grab that, hop in a fighter plane, and just fly off 5 seconds later and go do stuff. But a lot of movies end on those types of notes, trying to make like. A lot of times it's the second movie in a trilogy. They'll make something, and they'll make second new trilogies, and it's always like, oh, you always feel like, really it ended here? And with this one, it ended, and I'm like, oh man, I sure would like to see more, but it wasn't, it was, oh man, I sure would love to another 20 minutes.
Excited for
Where's the rest of Star Wars?
I'm excited for 2017. Yeah, well, it's funny too because it doesn't end the way New Hope ended. Like New Hope, blow up the Death Star, give them some medals, hit the music, done, right?
Yeah.
This one, blow up the Starkiller base, go find it, and then stop there.
Yeah.
So it's more of a, I guess it leaves you wanting more. It's set up to leave you wanting more, which you might think of that as
This is a cliffhanger done right.
pessimistic way to do it, but they did it well.
Yeah, right. It felt correct. It didn't feel like, they just cut it a little. The movie came to a conclusion, I found, because remember, the very first thing was Luke's been missing, everyone's looking for him. The very last scene is, we found Luke. That was what, it wasn't, like, the goal wasn't put Luke in charge of the Republic, or it was, Luke, we think, is the key to fixing this, let's find him. We found him. All right, now the next one's going to be, how does he get involved?
Should they have dwelled, talking about pacing, or, how much they covered, do you think they should have dwelled more on, because the Starkiller base blows up basically the core planets of the Republic, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you extrapolate, think about that, they kind of just killed the Republic, right? I mean, they don't even dwell on it in the movie, but isn't that what happened?
No.
Yeah, and I was trying to figure that out.
Was that Coruscant? I thought that was
The one that blew up?
I thought that what they were doing, and we've only seen this once, guys, so excuse us.
Yeah.
I thought what they were doing is they were blind firing into a system trying to kill all the planets they thought the rebels or the resistance was on.
I thought they were targeting.
No, they were just trying to blow up
Because
where
they could
everyone was.
see, like in space, they could see the explosions. So it had to be in that same system. So I was thinking they were like, we know they're in this system, let's start nuking all these planets. I'm not sure. Maybe someone can explain that better to us before, or when we go see it in a couple days.
This movie 10 more times.
I know.
Because I could have sworn it said something about targeting the Republic.
No, they were going for wherever the resistance was.
Really? Okay.
All right, we're going to watch this 12 more times. We'll make it another day.
That's one of the things where you see an awesome movie one time, it's packed with information and stuff to watch.
That part of the Millennium Falcon.
That part of the Millennium Falcon. Thank you very much. If you don't know, there were some cool Easter eggs on the Millennium Falcon.
We missed.
The little mask from when they were walking around inside the asteroid, and I don't even know what it's called, a little hover
Training ball
thing that Luke practices lightsaber for the first time on. And I missed it.
What did you think of the lightsaber fight?
It was excellent.
because it started with
In the flesh and
yeah,
stuff.
the lightsaber fight proper. Yeah, it started with Kylo fighting Finn, and then Rey stepping up and
Kylo Ren's
becoming
lightsaber.
Zen and beating him.
Like, I want Kylo Ren's lightsaber really bad. And his hilt, like, you were talking about how it's probably a vent.
Mm-hmm.
Not only is it, if it is a vent, that'd be awesome, but it's useful. When he's getting up close and they're doing the spark thing, he bends it a little bit and
burns the shoulder.
dips the shoulder. I'm like, that's amazing. Also, it protects his hand.
Which is funny because you remember in the last year or whatever, people on the internet were all kinds of arguing about whether that was a feasible weapon or why they would have it.
Yeah.
There were swords guys making videos showing why it was smart, and other people saying why it was stupid. And he ended up scorching a guy with it.
And the thing about, like, in the context, and this is one of the things that I worried about at first is, like, how is it that Finn hung at all with him in a lightsaber? Like, Finn's never used a lightsaber before. I had assumed that Kylo has, but maybe Kylo really has it. Like, you kind of get the impression that he's really amateur. Maybe he doesn't have very much training like that. Like, if you think about it, I don't know how Luke ever hung with Vader. It's because Vader fought in a time where he actually fought other Jedi with lightsabers, and he used it all the time.
Well, think about it this way. Like, how often do you think Kylo gets to fight with his lightsaber? He doesn't need to.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, no one else has one, right? Like, there's only 2 active lightsabers, seems like, in this universe right now.
Yeah,
One's been in a box.
That's why Snoke says, "Oh, we're going to train you some more because this is a problem."
So, he got to kill a console with it.
Yeah, he's not even really a badass. He's just an amateur at this point.
And you can even see it, like, with his lightsaber. Like, it's going with the whole concept that those side things are like heat vents or something. That just if you look at it, it's just like it's this big thing. He's a fanboy. Like, he's trying so hard to be something, and he doesn't even know what it is.
Yeah.
Which is the entire thread. I think we're gonna discover of the First Order is they're just
Fanboys.
They're emulating.
Mm-hmm.
They're fanboys. They're get all historical on you here, right? There were the Greeks who were Hellenic, and then the people who conquered the Greeks, the Macedonians, were called Hellenistic because they tried to act like Greeks, but they were still barbarians, basically. And I think that's what's kind of going on here.
So do you think, I don't mean to brush it, do you think that's what Snoke is, though? Do you think Snoke is just emulating stuff, or do you think he has his own agenda?
I'm certain he has
an agenda,
but I think he's either trying to resurrect the Empire or he's trying
Make
to
it a new one.
take advantage of that framework for his own purposes.
Do you think, because this is something I've read, do you think that he's some type of, like, messed up emperor? Like, the emperor was the emperor who was messed up and thrown on a shaft, and then through the Force manages to keep himself alive and is trying to rebuild something for himself?
No, I think Emperor was pretty cocky. I think he would call himself Emperor. I don't think he would call himself Snoke.
Well, in the prequels, he was sneaky, though. He was really stealth about it.
Yeah, I know.
Maybe he realizes, like, if you just step up to we're the Empire again. Like, that's the thing, is, like, the First Order isn't the Empire, right? Yeah. So even though they even use this almost as, like, the same icon and everything for it, they're not the Empire. They're this new group. If he said, like, I'm the Emperor, this is the Empire, I think maybe they'd worry about the whole galaxy rising up to fight him. But
yeah,
but I also think, like, I don't know, maybe, but
no,
he just what little we've seen, I don't see the competency level. So it made me think, oh yeah, he's Emperor. I'm still on this feeling that it's an emulation.
Fanboys, yeah.
Okay, all right. Well, I think that's our right now ramble about The Force Awakens. I'm sure we're going to talk about more in future Duelality Gamecasts. I'm sure we'll have big segments. Every time we see it, we'll think of more stuff and talk about it. But in the meantime, I'd love if you guys could tell us some of your theories about what's going on with the First Order, who Snoke really is.
Jar Jar.
If it's Jar Jar, yeah, exactly.
Jar Jar.
It's Jar Jar.
Is Jar Jar? He took his mask off. That's what Jar Jar looked like the whole time.
A little hand puppet, hologram hand puppet.
Oh my god.
And I think we touched on that, and I know it's already starting close here. It was that awesome of them walking in, and Snoke's huge, and I'm like, well, maybe this is crazy. He's like a 20-foot tall guy, and then at the end you realize it's a hologram. I'm like, oh,
he's not blue.
Oh, okay, woo.
And then that's where I'm saying, you talked about the CGI of those monsters early in the movie, the tentacle beasts, kind of affecting your ability to suspend your disbelief and all that. I kind of got that with that because when you first walk in, you see him, it looked like a weird CGI alien guy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then it turned out to be a hologram, so then I'm like,
so how's he gonna look in person?
why didn't they? Yeah, and I'm thinking, why didn't they go do
The classic
the
blue.
staticky hologram that you see in Star Wars?
Especially when they remember, like you said, like way earlier, like when they talk about when he was gunning, it had the 70s graphic targeting system. Why didn't they just have the blue hologram? It's only like 30 years
Because
later.
the First Order is using new technology, guys. The iPhone gets updated every year.
Oh my god.
The hologram technology gets upgraded every year.
Hey, their TIE fighters had weird back-to-back seating too. That was weird.
They didn't always have that?
No, I don't think so.
No?
No, it was single seaters.
Huh.
Did you understand how that worked? Like, was he
I think-
firing forward?
I think he
looking
was-
at a monitor.
I think he was firing forward looking at a monitor, yeah.
Okay.
That's pretty crazy.
Yeah. But the TIE fighters also had that weird red piece on the side. Like, they were black TIE fighters with that red component on one of the, like, where it attached. Did you see that too? Like, they updated them. It seemed like
Things are new.
things are new. It's iPhone 5, man. iPhone 6.
Did she get as excited? Like, our friend Terry was with us sitting next to her, like me. Like, we were every time something cool happened, we were hitting each other, elbowing each other. Like, when they're having the fight with the Millennium Falcon, and the Millennium Falcon laser cannon gets shot, so it's stuck,
Mm-hmm.
and they do the crazy roll and do it just right so he can shoot.
I was like, oh, yeah! And he's super excited about it,
Yeah.
too. It was cool because I guess that relates to, the whole Rey's been using the Force for a while thing, and because how else did she do that? But then they do the same thing. It wasn't like, oh yeah, no big problem. They're like, oh my god, did you do that? You did that? That was amazing, yeah! And they're like high-fiving and all excited.
Well, and I think that goes to her lightsaber duel too, right? It's like, and this is where it's funny because it's almost like you have to, if you want to understand it, you have to know like extended lore kind of stuff,
Mhm.
because what was keeping her alive in that lightsaber fight, I think, was that she's a force sensitive person,
Right.
so she can kind of anticipate stuff, and so that works with being a pilot too.
Mm-hmm. Right, and then that's the whole reason why. And then in that lightsaber fight, they had a moment where she like, and I think that's what got me with it, is she's like, the Force kind of, and then like closes her eyes and focuses for a moment. I'm like, what are you doing?
Oh, she turned on.
Yeah. It's like, oh yeah, the Force. That's right. And even then, it wasn't like she just wrecked him after that. But it was. It made me wonder, like, yeah. So did Kylo just make that lightsaber, and he's never like, they were like, bad guys use lightsabers. They're red. Okay, cool. I'm gonna make one.
It could be.
And then he's like never, because I mean, we don't really see him. He blocked blaster bolts with it a little bit, but
that would make sense, like, because it's all crazy, jaggedy, and it doesn't seem clean like a normal lightsaber. So again, the whole emulation thing, like
He wants to be.
he or Supreme Leader Stoke read books about making lightsabers, but they don't really know what they're doing. So boom.
all right. Well, okay. I think it's time for reals, guys.
Yeah.
I think we're gonna wrap this one up.
No more Star Wars.
But we'll talk about more Star Wars. We're gonna talk about it probably after the cameras go off. Please, again, let us know in the comments below if you've seen the movie, what you thought about it. Don't worry about spoilers. This is the spoiler review. Say anything you want. Let us know, some of your opinions, where you think the story might be going. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to like us on Facebook. Tweet us on Twitters. High five us if you see us on the street. We want to have a conversation. We're excited about Star Wars. We're going to go see it possibly tomorrow, maybe the day after that, maybe every day this week.
Yeah.
We're going to see a lot.
Canceling Christmas. We're going to Star Wars.
Right?
So, thanks for watching, guys, and we'll catch you next time.
Thank you.
I'm so sorry. Oh my god. My eyes. My eyes feel like they have like 1,000 wrinkles.